Hello, everyone. Dr. Patrick Collard here with Trust HR Go Backgrounds, located in beautiful downtown San Diego. And I've been wanting to record this video for quite some time. And I want to identify some of the factors that would delay the turnaround times of a county criminal. So let me just take my logo and my title off, and let me go to my Telestrator. Right, and then let me just open up a box here just to get some contrast so you can see what I'm typing here and what I'm writing out. Okay. So one of the factors that would delay a county criminal would be the common name, common surname. John Smith. I think that's a very common surname, but let's get a little bit more specific. How about, where there's a high density of Latino population, let's say Los Angeles County, let's say Jose Hernandez. That would be a challenging surname because that's very common. So that's something that could delay the return of a county criminal. Another factor would be the prevailing laws. And so what do I mean by that? So what's been happening most recently, let's say in the state of Michigan and the state of California, that legislation has come down to where they're removing what they call personal identifying information, PII, from the court record. And what is PII? PII is the date of birth, the address, Social Security number, even though Social Security number really, it's very rare that it's included in a criminal history. There are probably just a handful of counties that actually use a Social Security number for county criminal, and even when you get that information back, it would be truncated. Only the last 4 digits would be available. So, but for our example, these counties in the states of Michigan and California are redacting the date of birth entirely in some respects, and so, or they won't have an address associated with it either. So it makes it very challenging. And the reason that they've done this is really for 2 reasons. One is for second chance hiring for people that have been recently incarcerated, that they're now trying to obtain stable employment. And then the other reason is for privacy issues as well too. So those things can delay the return of the results of a county criminal. And just imagine if you have a common surname and you have a redacted date of birth, it's incredibly challenging to try to determine whether or not there's a criminal history on that particular applicant, okay? And the third thing that I was thinking about when I was preparing for this video is clerk assistance. Clerk assistance. And what do I mean by that? We've got about 3,000 counties in the United States. Some of these counties only allow the clerks to do the research. And so the researcher would have to hand off that request to the clerk. The clerk behind the counter would do the research. And in a couple of days, that researcher would come back, get the results from the clerk, and our researcher would put it back into the system. And so those are the things that could delay the return of a county criminal and the results thereof. Clerk assistance. And the fourth thing I was thinking about is hacking. Right? Recently in the state of Kansas, I think this goes back to last year, the entire court system was hacked. Every county was hacked for ransomware, shut the entire court system down on the county level. We were able to use a workaround to access the statewide criminal, not an instant single state criminal. An instant is a database, but this is a statewide criminal. The second best thing next to particularly in Kansas, second best thing next to that county criminal. So these are kind of the things that are kind of cropping up, these computer hacking events that could delay the results. And so the fifth thing is the weather. And then I'm going to add in force majeure as well too. Okay. The weather, hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes can play havoc with the court systems. The employees can't get to the courts, or the researchers can't get to the courts, or it knocks out the computer systems for the courts. Force majeure, the pandemic. The pandemic created much challenges and difficulty in the court systems because nobody was allowed to move anywhere. And so these are the types of things that can impact the results of a county criminal. And then the other thing I was thinking about was holidays. Federal holidays really can impact the court system because no one's there, right? And so, but what people don't realize, and what sometimes employers don't realize is, for example, let's say on Memorial Day, which is on a Monday. Well, going into that holiday weekend, you definitely can see a slowdown starting Thursday and Friday as well too. So holidays can really impact the turnaround time. And by the time the staff comes back, Tuesday, Wednesday, they start ramping up. And so things get a little bit better when it comes to turnaround time. But holidays can impact that as well too. And the last thing that I was thinking about is QA, which for us is called quality assurance. And so if there's any criminal history that comes into the system, I'm reviewing that to determine whether or not to pass that information on to the client, whether or not to present it to the client based upon federal, state, local jurisdictions, a decision tree that we utilize, putting this all together to make sure that it's FCRA compliant based upon my experience, my education, my advanced FCRA certificate through the Professional Background Screening Association, trying to, as they say in FCRA Section 1681 EB, which is the accuracy provision, to ensure maximum possible accuracy for that final report. So these 7 things can really play havoc with the turnaround times with the county criminals. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the background that you may not be aware of. So the common surname, the prevailing laws, clerk assistance, hacking, the weather and force majeure, holidays, and then the quality assurance. So let me take myself out of here. I'll put myself back here. And let me just come back here. Let me just put there we go. That's what I wanted to do. So here's my contact information. And if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, please do so. I'd love to connect with you and learn more about your business as well as your professional life and career. If you happen to put personal things on there as well too, I'd be happy to learn about that as well too. And let me just give you my contact info, more of a heads up contact info here. And so here is my phone number, 188-462-2251, extension 83. And of course my email, patrick@trusthr.com. You can always book an appointment with me as well too by clicking on the link that's right here. You go right to my scheduler and you can put yourself on my calendar. So until the next video, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.